All right, y'all, we got some breaking news, man. Chris Paul just signed to Los Angeles Clippers. Now, keeping it 100, man. That's what I do. This move would have moved me, honestly, if this was 2021 Chris Paul for the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul's going into likely his last season, 21st season in the NBA. But I will say this, though. Having Chris Paul as a backup PG coming off the bench for the Los Angeles Clippers is huge. That is very solid. You got a guy to run that second unit seamlessly, right? This is what's worrisome about this, though. You just signed more age. Chris Paul is not the defender that he used to be. Bradley Beal's never been a defender, right? You lose Norman Powell. You still retain Derrick Jones Jr., which is huge off the bench for sure. This move right here necessarily doesn't make them more of a contender than the Bradley Beal move. Them two together, like Bradley Beal and Chris Paul signed to the Clippers, is dope for sure. Regular season for sure. But we got to see how the health is between these two guys and the rest of the roster, Kawhi Leonard, etc. But I do love the move, though, man. I love him going back home. You know what I'm saying? I love him going back to not where he started because he was in a Hornet, but back to where his career really took off with Lob City. And it's been phenomenal to watch him for 21 seasons. You know, this being his quote unquote last season, there's no better way to end it than going to the Clippers, trying to chase a ring. But I love it, though. I love this chase. This chase actually makes sense because he'll have a legit role on the team in the second unit. So him going back to the Clippers, phenomenal. Playing under somebody other than Doc Rivers in the Clippers, which would be amazing because Tyronn Lue is known to get the best out of guys. I'm excited to see how this works out, though. I will say that. But for me personally, it doesn't move the needle. But shout out to Chris Paul on a long and successful career. We'll see if he's able to obtain that ring that he has longed for 21 years. But I will say this, though, man. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Bradley Beal on this team, because when Chris Paul's in the game, and I don't know. They were saying on ESPN that Bradley Beal had the least amount of touches this past year. I think since his rookie season. I think his rookie season he might have had more touches. Anywho, I don't see how he gets more touches with the Clippers. You got Harden, Kawhi, Zubac, Beal. Chris Paul don't need touches. Chris Paul's going to find the guys, right? But I'm saying you have Kawhi, Harden, Zubac, and then comes Beal. So it's like he might get the same amount of touches. Man, the roster construction for the Clippers, it's name-wise, it's deep. They're good. They're going to be a top 6 team in the Western Conference. Adding this guy solidifies them to be a top 6 team in the Western Conference because that second unit being ran by Chris Paul, a Hall of Famer, are you kidding me, is freaking unheard of. I don't see a way where he starts unless Bradley Beal comes off the bench. But there's no way you start a Chris Paul and James Harden again in 2025. 2018? Oh. I mean, well, that would have been 2019. Whatever year that was when he was, you know what I'm saying, when they was going toe-to-toe with the Rockets. With the Warriors, and he had a hamstring injury. But in 2025, a Harden and Chris Paul backcourt won't work. I will strongly stand on that. But if this was, like I said, 4 years ago, this is 4 years too late, my personal opinion. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think on this one. Moving forward, the Los Angeles Lakers signed Marcus Smart. So it kind of fills that void of Dorian Finney-Smith leaving. They also waive Shake Milton, and they waive, I believe his name is Jeff Goodwin. This move actually makes sense. Marcus Smart's only 31 years old. He's not that old, y'all. He's 31 years old. It's a 2-year contract, $11 million deal. I think there may be a player option on that second half of the deal, kind of like how DeAndre Ayton's. But either way, this is huge for the Lakers. I like this a lot. This gives you what you lacked from KCP leaving and Alex Caruso leaving. You got to get a defensive player of the year 3 years ago, right? I know, but he's still 31 years old. He still can play at a solid, and he can play at a high level. He's not going to be asked to do much offensively. You know, he's going to be asked to be more of a 3-and-D guy, but he could be small ball 4. I kind of like this. Cleared the way, you know what I'm saying? He got the buyout from the Wizards, goes to a contending team. It's going to be interesting to see what the additions of him and Ayton look like come beginning of season. But I like this move a lot. I'm not saying this makes them more of a contender than they already were, but it definitely puts them in a better position to compete long term through the playoffs, depending on matchup, in my personal opinion. In the last half of this, we have the Sacramento Kings. Doug McDermott has agreed to a 1-year, $3.6 million deal to return Sacramento Kings. He shot 44% from 3 in 42 Kings games in the 2024-2025 season. This is my only gripe with this move. This doesn't help us defensively. I don't think offensively we struggle that much. It's more so just defense. Like, we can score. We just can't defend. And adding Doug McDermott gives us another shooter off the bench for sure. But he can't guard nobody. I was at a game last year where he came off the bench. I think it was against the Utah Jazz. I was sitting there front row. And he went crazy. The very next game, mind you, he got in with garbage minutes because I think we were blowing him out. The very next game we played, he's in the immediate 8-man rotation. I was like, who was making the call here? Just because someone has a good game in garbage time, I think he had like 6 straight threes, just mean you automatically implement them into the 6-7-man rotation the very next game. Like, it was against a better opponent. It might have been against the Indiana Pacers. I forget. But anywho, I was sitting there like, who's making this call? Because no way it's Mike Brown saying, yeah, Mike, bro, it blew my mind. And this is no offense to Doug McDermott. It's just, he is good at what he's good at. We don't say, oh, he's shooting 6 for 6. We got to play him in the top 6, 7. He's be first 2 guys off the bench next game. We have Keon Ellis coming off the bench. Trey Lyles. You know what I'm saying? We had Jay Crowder that didn't play a lick of basketball damn near. I don't know why we signed him. It was really odd. We signed him but didn't play him, whether he was hurt or not. It was really weird. That was a weird signing. But I do like Doug McDermott coming off the bench, being like our 9th to 10th guy. To come and give us a spark, especially because he can shoot the ball, so he can spread the floor for sure. I'm not saying this is a bad signing. It's just my only gripe is we don't get better defensively. Keeping him and losing Jake LaRavia, who I'm very high on Jake LaRavia, man. Shout out to I forgot the Lakers got Jake LaRavia too. Lakers fans, you guys are gonna love him, man. I'm telling you right now. People are asleep on Jake LaRavia. They're the Los Angeles Lakers fandom is like only in love with guys with big names. But then when someone comes along that can actually play basketball at a high level, Jake LaRavia, who's like 6'8", who can shoot the ball and play defense, they don't know what they're getting. They're like, who's this guy? I'm like, bro, that lets me know that they don't watch basketball. They don't watch basketball enough. But yeah, these are the 3 recent moves that we talked about today. Chris Paul to the Clippers. I give this a B+, just because of the age only. I give this an A-, honestly, for what you lost and gained. You lost Dorian Finney-Smith, Shake Milton, Jeff Goodwin, and in return you get a Marcus Smart and Jake LaRavia and Ayton. That's not too bad. And you retain Jackson Hayes, back up big off the bench. Love it. And then Sacramento Kings, I don't love it, but I like it. This would be a B- C+ range for me personally. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, though, man. That is my spiel. And I will catch you guys next episode. Sayonara. Peace.